In this video, I discover Valletta in Malta for the first time.
Hi.
I traveled with my mom, and she got the royal treatment getting off the plane. We had to wait for the luggage to be unloaded before we could move over to the airport terminal. Hi, Mom.
Hello.
We took a taxi to our hotel, and our driver was nice enough to point out many of the wonderful spots we passed along the way. We spent our first afternoon in Valletta just walking along, admiring the beautiful streets. We stopped for a coffee and had to almost share a table with this hungry little guy, hoping for some food. These balconies are one of the key features of homes that you'll see throughout Valletta. On day 2, we began our first of many tours throughout Malta. Supposedly, there are about 365 churches throughout Malta, which is a very small country, and they are all quite ornate. Though this tour was on September 9th and they are taking down the decorations, we arrived September 8th, which is Victory Day in Malta, and commemorates 3 of their greatest war victories in history. Up next, we got our first of many glimpses of the beautiful harbor. In fact, I believe there are 3 harbors. It is quite a stunning sight to see. The gardens also feature a very interesting watchtower you can go inside of and get more stunning views. Next, we headed to Vittoriosa, an extremely well-fortified city. I think there were 3 actual gates and walls to get in, which is one of the ways that Malta secured their victory from the Ottoman Empire. Gate number 3. Apparently common to see in some of the old gates are these beautiful religious paintings. I came to enjoy the very intricate door knockers throughout Malta. Britain ruled Malta for 150 years until 1964, and you can still see a lot of their presence throughout the city.
Area. So when the knights lived in the 3 cities in Vittoriosa, they had an area that was reserved just for them, and the common people could not come in between sunrise positions, so the inquisitor was like the judge for the Pope. From here you see the harbor from the other side, from the Valletta side.
Valletta is not very big, and walking through it is an absolute delight. Except when there's a giant cruise ship moored in the harbor, at which point the city is plastered with tourists everywhere you look, and it's impossible to get a seat in a cafe.
The So all the streets are parallel, and Valletta was also the first to have a drainage system.
Market to walk around, get here early enough to see the fish before it sells out, and make sure to take some great pictures of the water. Blue Grotto in Malta. The island of Malta is beautiful. The limestone is they're basically what they're known for, this special stone. There are quarries here that they cut themselves. There's a lot of really rich, interesting history where they defeated the Ottomans, and September 8th is Victory Day, which we have just, we got here actually on midday, on Victory Day. And the landscape is very interesting and changing for such a small country. There are a lot of varieties of city, and now we are in a grotto, and it's really fascinating.
The team managed to work together. Being in abundance, human figurines, phallic symbols. Positioning was only discovered for this one, unlike that one. That is the solar temple, the astrological symbol. And one thing that never changes is astrology. The entrance, the apsis, the second set of apsis, and the head. It is exactly, if you look at there, it looks very similar. And even how these were made, it's as if their hands across. But have a look.
I got interested in coming here from watching the series Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix. This is amazing, and the fact that they were able to build stones to be able to move rolling stones to move the bigger pieces of limestone is just amazing. And the whole, that they knew the technology back then. This is 3,500 years before Christ that this was built.
Where in the first two set of axes we have like inner chambers. You know, we go to a church and every priest would have their in every temple. However, we are not sure what it meant. The original of this is in the Museum of Archaeology. We have so since the 17th century it's been there because artists captured this scene.
That's where the moon hits.
The sun.
That's right, the sun.
The sun, and the blood. We are talking about the fertility card, so we have phallic symbols.
Heading to the second temple here. If you can buy one ticket that gets you into both temples, and you learn a lot about how they tracked the stars and also built these temples clearly with the sun in mind at peak solstice periods, and the light would go into the temples in a very specific way, in a specific place. And again, for a culture that was from so long ago, obviously, I don't know why is it that we assume that humans that lived so long ago, do we assume they were just not smart? I don't know, because they clearly were. So quite an amazing heritage that they've left here in Malta. Exploring this lower temple has a lot more steps, so if you have any walking disabilities of any kind, it will be a little harder for you to visit this temple. If you try to have coffee at a local shop in Valletta, it'll probably be on a fairly steep hill.
Seated at all times. Please do not be out of the train. There today is Valletta. The construction included 30 bastion artillery fortification walls. In this cathedral, one can view Caravaggio's masterpiece, the Valletta resumed under British rule. These projects included widening gates,
I thought the tourist train was totally worth it. There appear to be two different lines, one that picks up in front of the church and another one, I'm not sure where it picks up, but for about €5. And they bring you through the city, you see all the streets, and you get some explanations about the history of Valletta.
One can see the town of Sliema, Sliema, which means peace and comfort.
experience. There are wider streets with lots of tourists, these side streets with restaurants and no tourists, and always a view of either the ocean or the center of town, I guess. There's a big fortress that you can see the other way, and the other three sides have a view of the water. It's spectacular. It's also Gay Pride Week here in Malta. The first and second weeks of September. Because of weather, some of the events were moved or called off, but it is in full swing here. If you do the Living Malta film, it includes a visit of the old hospital, which is a fascinating tour with a great tour guide who will teach you some really interesting facts about this hospital and how people were treated, rich and poor. This is a former nuns' convent, now open to the public. Also an interesting way to spend maybe about 30 minutes learning some uncomfortable history, but also seeing how the nuns lived in this area. One of the activities I highly recommend doing is one of the Valletta harbor daytime cruises. They're about an hour and a half long, really beautiful. You have to go to the town of Sliema to pick up the boats. There's usually a big line. It's a little bit convoluted to figure out where the ticket office is and how to get on your boat and all that. But just that aside, it was a lovely day, and especially if it's beautiful weather, highly, highly recommend it. You may not know it, but a lot of big Hollywood productions are filmed in Malta. And right here is where Gladiator 2 is being filmed once the strike is over. of the Malta harbor, and to get here you need to go to the town of Sliema. We're staying in Valletta, so we took a Bolt taxi. It took 1 minute for him to arrive. It cost 14 euros to do the trip, which was probably longer than if you actually, there's a ferry between Sliema and Valletta that may be even faster. The harbor is fascinating. It is huge, and as you saw, it has such a variety of different landscapes and views and architecture depending where you are. Highly recommend this tour. This one I did the city sightseeing version where you can, there's one stop where you can get off and get picked up later if you choose. And the staff was very nice. Downstairs in this boat there is an indoor air-conditioned area, and also if you have any walking issues, you won't have to take a staircase to go up to the top of the deck, and to get to this level is quite easy. It's also the level where the bathrooms are, and there is an outside area in the front of the boat that was just lovely. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified of my upcoming videos.